Welcome, patriots, to the Right Slant. Today, we're diving into New Mexico's gun laws, especially for our new residents from other states. New Mexico proudly stands as one of the least restrictive states for firearms, reflecting a deep-rooted gun culture prevalent across the Intermountain West. Our state constitution explicitly safeguards the right to keep and bear arms for security, defense, hunting, and other lawful purposes. New Mexico also upholds state preemption, meaning local governments cannot enact stricter firearm regulations than those set by the state. However, local jurisdictions do retain the authority to restrict the discharge of firearms within their specific boundaries. Now, let's talk about your duty to inform. New Mexico is considered a quasi-duty to inform state. You are not obligated to proactively tell a law enforcement officer that you are carrying a firearm. However, if a peace officer specifically asks, you must present your concealed handgun license. An officer can temporarily disarm a licensee if they reasonably believe it's necessary for the safety of anyone involved. Moving on to conceal and carry. Open carry is generally legal here without a license for individuals 19 years or older who can legally possess a firearm. For concealed carry of a loaded handgun on foot, New Mexico residents need a concealed handgun license, or CHL. Non-residents can carry concealed with a permit from a state that New Mexico recognizes through reciprocity agreements. Interestingly, a loaded firearm can be carried openly or concealed in a vehicle without needing a permit. To obtain a CHL, applicants must be at least 21 years old and be New Mexico residents or military members stationed here. Part-time residents with a valid New Mexico ID can also apply, but the state doesn't issue non-resident licenses except for military personnel and their dependents. A 15-hour handgun safety course, including live fire instruction, is a mandatory requirement for your CHL. However, active military, law enforcement, and honorably discharged veterans within 20 years are exempt from this training. CHL holders are limited to carrying one concealed handgun at a time, but there are no restrictions on the number of firearms that can be openly carried. New Mexico recognizes permits from states with reciprocity agreements, simplifying travel for many gun owners. However, there are prohibited locations where carrying handguns, openly or concealed, is not allowed. These include schools, university premises, preschools, courts, tribal land, and public buses. Also restricted are airport security zones, federal properties, and private property with posted signs or verbal notification. You cannot carry in establishments primarily dispensing alcoholic beverages unless food sales account for at least 60% of revenue and only beer and wine are sold. Additionally, polling places and areas near ballot receptacles are off-limits for firearms. Crucially, a licensee must always have their physical concealed handgun license in their possession while carrying concealed. Next, let's discuss suppressors. These are legal to own and use in New Mexico, provided they comply with federal regulations under the National Firearms Act. Suppressors can be used for recreational shooting, hunting legally permitted game species, and other legal uses. The federal requirements include submitting an ATF Form 4 along with additional documents. A $200 tax stamp must be sent to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and a background check is required. Suppressors are designated as Class 3 firearms by the ATF, and New Mexico requires no special permits beyond this federal process. Now, let's talk about magazine capacity. New Mexico has no laws prohibiting or restricting large capacity magazines. Our state constitution protects the right to keep and bear arms, and no municipality or county can regulate this right. However, it's important to note that there have been attempts to limit magazine capacity. In 2023, House Bill 50 aimed to ban magazines holding 10 or more rounds, sparking significant controversy. Many argued this bill was a backdoor effort to ban guns, highlighting the ongoing debate around firearm rights. Beyond these specifics, New Mexico also embraces the stand your ground principle. This means a person threatened with attack need not retreat. They may stand their ground and defend themselves. While New Mexico doesn't have a specific castle doctrine law, the spirit of self-defense in one's home is strongly upheld. For private firearm sales, background checks are required and must be administered by a licensed federal firearms dealer. Additionally, a 7-day waiting period is mandated for the sale and transfer of a firearm to the buyer. It's crucial to remember that no weapon signs in New Mexico carry the force of law and must be obeyed. Finally, New Mexico has a law addressing negligently making a firearm accessible to a minor, emphasizing responsible gun ownership. Understanding these key aspects of New Mexico gun laws will help you navigate your rights and responsibilities as a new resident. We hope this guide from the Right Slant has been both entertaining and informative for you. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay informed on all things freedom. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the Land of Enchantment.